Hey, we're live, guys. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is the Midwest Picker, Dave. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great.
Good, good.
Awesome.
You want to introduce yourself to our audience in case they don't know who you are?
Yeah, sure. My name is Dave. I'm a full-time RN, full-time husband, father, part-time reseller, and part-time YouTube content creator. And I live in West Michigan, and I just have a great time creating YouTube content, what's sold on eBay videos. Primarily, most of my videos are to help people new to reselling, not just eBay, but any platform. And I have videos on how to ship and how to list and how to write a description, how to source, how to determine your platform, kind of older videos. But yeah, so that's pretty much who I am and what I do right now.
Okay, so you have a full-time job, and you said you're a registered nurse, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then tell me a little bit about your whole routine, your whole schedule, because I was watching your video the other day, and you were talking about when you're free time, you just list items. It's like eat, sleep, list, right? Can you talk a little bit about your whole processes and how that works? And do you have like a big death pile at your house that you pull items from, or explain a little bit how your day works, your routine?
Well, typically throughout 2020, I would source on the weekends, typically. But sometimes I would source during the week. But every Saturday, I would go out sourcing, go to estate sales, garage sales, thrift stores. I just like the thrill of the hunt, looking for stuff. And then I would list whenever I had time. So whenever family comes first, work comes first, then any free time I have, I would list. So sometimes I would only list once a week. Sometimes I'd list every other day. And then what happens is I source more than I sell. That's a common problem. So the inventory starts to build up. So I have stuff in my eBay store going on 2 years. Sometimes it sells in 2 minutes. But I'll source, 10 items on a Saturday, but then I only sell 2 or 3 things a week. So as you can do the math, it starts to build up. So yeah, I do have a nice death pile because here in Michigan in the winter time, you have to be like a squirrel and put stuff away because we have blizzards and ice storms, and there's times you can't get out and you can't source. It's too risky. And then you have plenty of stuff to list on eBay. So I'm kind of, I keep saying this. A lot of people say this. I do want to downsize. I want to have higher margins and lower volume because it saves time. But I say that, then I go to a thrift store and I see a coffee mug for 50 cents that I know is worth 20 bucks or 10 bucks. I'm like, oh, I just got to get it. I have to get it. And then I put it in my eBay store and it takes a year to sell. So I'm trying to get out of that habit, and I'd rather spend $20 on something that sells for 200. That's the dream margin category that I would like to get into.
Okay, cool, Dave. I wanted to say hi to some people in the chat. We have Jennifer Hayes here today. We got Harry Humstone is here. We got Gail from Small Town Picker is here in the chat hanging out with us. And looks like we already have a question. Harry wants to know, Dave, do you ever eat gross candy? You want to tell us the backstory about what that means?
Yeah, I do. And the difference is I hate it and Harry likes it. So yeah, I do. And Joey's got some right here, ham-flavored candy cane hanging on his shirt. Yeah, I don't know what started it, but I think my wife said to me one time, she said, hey, I heard that there's this mac and cheese flavored candy cane. Have you ever heard of that? And I said, no. We'd go to the grocery store or the big stores and we couldn't find it anywhere. And then I thought, well, that would be kind of cool to do like a taste test of like weird food. So me and my daughter, we did the Chips Ahoy Sour Patch Kids cookies, thinking they would be horrible. And just for the fun of it. And they weren't bad. I actually kind of liked them. And then so I purchased these awful candy canes and I did a taste testing live on 3 of them. And now Harry and I are trying to coordinate. We're going to try to find the craziest food that we can and then do a live taste testing at the same time. So I don't know really what started it, but I just thought it would be kind of funny. I'm not doing hot stuff like, the 1 chip challenge. Yeah, I'm not doing anything like that. It's going to give me a heart attack, but anything gross or weird, I thought that would be funny.
Yeah, I was watching your channel. I think it was yesterday, and you were doing a giveaway on your channel and giving away some candy canes to Wendy, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I wanted to say hi to Primetime Treasure Hunter. Dominique stopped by to hang out with us today. I just sent him a message on Instagram, Primetime. So I hope you're having a good day. I just sent you a message on Instagram before the show started today. We got we got a Wendy here in the chat, and Primetime says, "Is Joey on the naughty list?"
He's
I think he's
always
talking
on
about.
it. Yeah, this guy, he's always on the naughty list.
Oh, okay.
Year round.
Okay, cool. So tell us what happened, Dave. How did you first become a reseller? Because you have a steady 9-to-5 job, right? You work as a nurse, right? As a registered nurse. So what first got you started into reselling? Like, were you watching YouTube videos one day? Were you just, like channel surfing? And like, what gave you this idea where you're like, man, I am just going to be a reseller and I'm going to do it and make it happen? Like, where did that come from?
Well, you have to go back to like the year 2001. I just started hearing these stories in the newspaper back when people read newspapers, of people finding these little items at flea markets, like a little ugly green vase, and it would sell on eBay for like $800. That would be like front page news back in the day. The internet was very young, and I kept reading these articles. And then my uncles or my dad, they live on the East Coast. They're like, yeah, I found this, vintage piece of machinery at a estate sale or a flea market, and then I gave it to a friend of mine who told me about eBay, and he sold it, and it was $1,000. I'm like, what is this eBay? I've never even heard of eBay before. So I looked into it and figured out what it was. It was like an online flea market, basically. And then my dad, he had some slot cars from when he was a kid, like from 1958, 1960, and he just gave them to me and said, hey, why don't you sell these on eBay? I'm like, okay. So I went to ebay.com, started an account, went to Best Buy and bought this gigantic Sony digital camera. It's as big as a toaster. And I took pictures of the slot cars, put them on eBay, and they sold for $85 a piece. And I was hooked. I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. People buy this stuff. So that got the bug started. So from January of 2002 all the way to like 2015, just casual eBayer. I would buy and sell, didn't take it too seriously. Then around 2018, 19, I kind of got hooked on retail arbitrage a little bit. So I went from like 2 listings on eBay to about 25 or 30. And then that's when I started going on YouTube, looking at DIY videos and, how to fix my car, how to, fix my garbage disposal. And then there was a suggested video on the side of taco stacks. And I'm like, what the heck is a taco stack? So I clicked on it, and it was this kid picking stuff out of the trash and selling it. I'm like, what is that? So once you start watching that video, you get more suggestions. Rally Roots, Craigslist Hunter. I didn't even know there was a reselling community on YouTube. So I just started watching these videos, and it just kind of like grew from there. It was crazy.
Right. We got a question in the chat. Wendy wants to know, says, Dave, where is your favorite place to source, and is Joey still grounded?
No, he was only grounded for 2 weeks, so he's free to roam the house, which he does on occasion. My favorite place to source would have to be flea markets. Estate sales and garage sales in West Michigan have really dried up. It's kind of like people keep the good stuff for themselves or give it to their grown children, and then anything that's junk they don't want, they just put it in a garage sale. Or if, grandma and grandpa are going into a nursing home, the adult kids come in, they take all the good stuff, and then they just put all the junk in the estate sale. So I do love estate sales, but around here, it's slim pickings, but flea markets are awesome. We have really big ones in Michigan. So that's probably my favorite, is just finding the stuff people walk right past and don't think it's worth anything. So that's what I like to do.
Okay, Dave, you mentioned earlier that you were kind of got it hooked on retail arbitrage. I'm kind of interested in that topic of buying items that are new in the shrink wrap, getting them at a discount, and then reselling them on eBay. Do you have any tips or tricks that you can share with us for retail arbitrage? I mean, is there certain days of the week when they bring out clearance items? Is there certain stores that we should go to, like Walmart or Target or Ross? Or do you have any suggestions or recommendations when it comes to retail arbitrage?
Yeah, I'm not a real expert on that. I do a little bit. My luck has been Kohl's when they have 75 to 90% off clearance sales, and they do it a lot all throughout the year. My advice is big name brands like Levi's, Under Armour, Nike. Don't go with the cheap brands just because you can get a men's shirt for $1. You know, if it's Croft and Barrow, you know, you're not going to sell it for more than $4 or $5. So nothing wrong with those brands, but as far as flipping, you really got to go for the big ones. Like Levi's is the best. I've had the best luck with that. You can find Levi's jeans 75, 80, 90% off. You just have to look for it. So my advice is to stick to that. And if it's not clothing, you know, big name brands, Sears, Craftsman Tools, Carhartt clothing, anything that's a big brand that's 50, 60% off. I'm trying to get out of retail arbitrage now. That's what got me started, but I'm trying to go back to vintage collectibles. So if I can find something 90% off, I'll buy it. But if it's less than 90%, I just, you know, I tend to stay away, because if I go too far down that rabbit hole, my death pile will just have me sleeping in the hallway. I'll run out of room.
Yeah, well, when you're saying 90% off, you basically want to buy items 10 cents on the dollar. So you buy an item for $1, you want to sell it for $10 is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's usually bigger ticket items, like the Levi's jeans I got for, you know, like $5.25 and sold them for $30. So it depends on what it is. Like I bought some nutritional supplements like elderberry, which is supposed to help your immune system. Well, during the public health emergency, that stuff gets wiped out. You can't find it anywhere. But if you go to these little small towns, like where I live, we have a population of 4,000 people. So the local pharmacies, they can't give that stuff away. Nobody knows what elderberry is, and it just sits on the shelf, and then they mark it down 50% to get rid of it. Well, the rest of the country wants it, and they can't find it because it's sold out. So there is situational retail arbitrage based on current events or fads, like the new thing with the sports trading cards. I forget what it's called. Is it what is it? It starts with a P, and I don't even remember the name brand anymore. But that's like the new thing I know nothing about. So, but those are the few things I do with retail arbitrage.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to catch up with some people in the chat. We got Don here in the chat. We got my man Joey Bada Bing 22. He says, let's go. He's always excited. We got Julian here, the Bearded Thrift Machine. He says, hey, everyone. So if you guys haven't checked out Julian, the Bearded Thrift Machine, check out his channel. We're trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And it says, Joey's here. He says, Dave, we love you. Prime Treasure Hunter says, Double J Bada Bing in the house. And he says, what's up? And we got my man Derek here from Fundamentals to Side Hustling. So thank you guys for coming in. I thought I missed a question here from Don. He says, I am in DFW. Should I go to secondhand stores or high-class areas for inventory?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, so I'm not a good person to ask. I definitely, you know, if the question is, should I go to thrift stores in the high-end neighborhoods, for sure, I've found some great deals doing that. You know, upper income people love to donate, you know, their fine china to thrift stores and stuff like that. You can get some great stuff. I'm not sure if that's his question, but if it is, I would say for sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's tons of places you can go to get inventory. You could go to yard sales, estate sales, thrift stores. I've been doing a lot of retail arbitrage myself. I've been going to Walmart clearance. I went to the Dollar Tree. If you guys stick around, I'll have a What Sold video soon. I'll show you items that I bought at the Dollar Tree for $1 and sold for $18. So you could go to the Dollar Tree. You can go like Facebook Marketplace. There's tons of places where you can go get merchandise. It's all about getting it at the right price. And another tactic that I've been using is going online, doing a little bit of retail arbitrage online. It's called OA, online arbitrage, and you can get whole pallets of merchandise or wholesale orders of merchandise like on eBay. There's one deal I'm working on right now, and it's going to have like 400 or it's like 1,000 CDs shipped to my door for $400. So your buy cost is 40 cents. And if you just sell it for $10 a piece times 1,000, Now you got $10,000 worth of merchandise and your buy cost is 40 cents a piece. So you can do that. And also if you go online on Craigslist and you go click the free section, like on a Saturday or Sunday, they have a bunch of stuff left over from yard sales that people just give away for free. And all you got to do is they'll have the stuff out of the street curve. You'll look online on the free section on Craigslist. It'll tell you the address and you can just go there and have your pick of the litter and just get stuff for free. You don't even need a lot of money to get started. You can just go there, type in Craigslist, free section, boom, a whole list of stuff will pull up and you can just start grabbing stuff. For example, I got a bunch of VHS tapes. This one lady gave me like 300 VHS tapes for free. And then I went home and started selling them. And it was like the next day I sold this like Alien VHS tape for $10. You know, it's $10, but I had no money tied up in it, you know, and you got 300 items times $10. That's what? $3,000 worth of merchandise and you got zero money tied up in it. And also another thing I wanted to say real quick is if you guys look, since they switched over from PayPal to managed payments, if you have the basic store subscription, you're going to get 10,000 free listings. So look for items that are in those select categories so you can get free listings. So anyways, we got a bunch of people in the chat today, so thank you guys for coming out. We got Joey here, Primetime Treasure Hunter. We got Fundamentals of Side Hustling. Wendy is here. Dawn says, thank you for your answers. So, Dave, I got to ask you this question. Tell us a story about what is going on with your alien over your shoulder. You got to tell us what happened, because a lot of people are, if they're new to the channel, they're looking over your shoulder and they're like, what in the heck is going on here? Tell us a story, Dave. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. As I started making YouTube content, the wall was kind of bare, so I was buying a little bit more and a little bit more. Some LPs that I've owned since high school. I bought some frames and I put them over here on the wall, but it was pretty blank over there. And I was thinking I would really like something cool, so I thought about downloading a picture of Enoch from Land of the Lost, like one of my favorite shows from my childhood. I thought, how funny would that be to take the file to like Walmart and print like an 11 by 14 and put it in an antique picture frame, like a real big ornate one. The contrast between an alien and the picture frame I thought would be kind of funny. So I was going to do that, and then I noticed on my Facebook feed a local artist was, you know, advertising saying I need work and I do original paintings, you know, send me a private message if you're interested. And I thought, well, that's perfect timing. So I thought it's going to be weird. I'm taking a chance, but I messaged her and I said, hey, I'd like to commission you to make a painting for me. Can I send you a picture and talk about prices? And she was really excited, said, yep. And I saw her previous work, which was really edgy stuff. So I thought, well, this will be tame. Sent her the picture and she said, oh yeah, absolutely, I could do that. So I wanted a 1 foot by 2 foot canvas, and we talked about the price, and she said, yeah, I could do that in like 2 days. And she started sending me sketches of how she was going to do it, and it was fantastic. It's her interpretation of Enoch. It's not supposed to be exactly like him. And she messaged me in the evening and said, oh, I got all the supplies, and I found a canvas 3 feet by 3 feet that's actually cheaper than the small canvas. Have a good night. I was like, what? So the price was exactly the same, but the canvas was just monstrous. It takes up like a third of my wall. And I thought, you know, what the heck? If it's the same price, why not? So I think she did a fantastic job. I intended to get something small and cute, but it's huge. So that's kind of the story behind that. It's not for sale. Never will be for sale. It's a one-of-a-kind painting. So he's now my life coach and advisor, and he sends messages to Joey and keeps him in line too.
Well, does your painting, does he have like telepathic powers? Like, tell me about this painting. Can he talk? Can he communicate? Like, what does he do? Because I see him in your videos, and it's like you're talking, and all of a sudden the painting will put up post on your channel. So can you tell us what this alien can do?
Well, it's kind of a trade secret because that's part of my success. I put him in charge in one video to post the pictures, and he did a pretty good job, but then he kept putting this text over my head, calling me names and saying things behind my back, but I left it in the video. I don't care. But yeah, he's got the crystal necklace. You know, he uses that to communicate. So yeah, it's kind of like a genie in a lamp that I try not to talk about too much.
Okay, well, it's Primetime says one day that painting will be in the YouTube Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say hi to little Debbie in the chat. We got Primetime Treasure Hunter. We got Hyphen Gold here in the chat. We got Fundamentals of Side Hustling, and we got Jonathan here. So hey, so tell me a little bit about how your day works, because ever since this lockdown, you said you've been basically working from home at your job. Then you're listing items, you're shipping, and you're making videos. So tell us a little bit more about how your typical day goes and what it's like in the day in the life of a YouTuber. Go ahead and tell us, Dave.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic. First and foremost, my work and my family come first. So you have to get the priorities straight when you're doing YouTube content and reselling and all of that. If you're like me, this is like a hobby. I'm not a full-time reseller. I don't own a business. So some people call it a side hustle or a hobby or part-time. But yeah, family comes first, then my job, and then anything I can fit in. If I have a spare minute, I do listing or I do shipping. Shipping you have to do. But as far as sourcing and YouTube content creation, I get that done on the weekends. Rarely do I do anything in the evenings, Monday through Friday. But basically, whatever I can fit in is what I do. I can't really scale this up. I can't do a video every single day on YouTube. That's just not an option. I have 380 listings on eBay. I can't scale that up to 500 or 1,000. It's impossible. So basically, everything I do related to reselling in YouTube is whatever I have time to do. So if I have less time, I just do less of it. If I have more time, then maybe I do more. So that's kind of how I prioritize and get it done.
Okay, yeah, Dave, I was going to say, I was watching your video the other day, and you said that whenever you have free time, you list items. So it's like you work, you eat, you sleep, you make a video, and then you list items. So I was thinking Dave sounds just like me. He just got probably a death pile of merchandise at his house. Just whenever he has free time, he just lists items. We got a question in the chat from Wendy. She says, are the flea markets open in the winter where you live? And do you stock up inventory during the summer for the winter time?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do have a couple places here in Grand Rapids that are indoor flea markets. They'll do a gun show one weekend, they'll do an antique fair one weekend, they'll do a flea market one weekend. So not a lot, a couple. And then, yeah, I do squirrel away a lot of inventory because I live in Michigan. It's a cold weather state. Today was a high of 23. So people that live like in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, we intentionally have death piles because we do have weather that's dangerous to go out in. So, if we have a blizzard or a snowstorm, ice storm or whatever, I've got plenty of inventory that I'll never run out of anything to list. And that's a good thing. So yeah, I do love indoor flea markets, but with the public health emergency, there's not a whole lot of them anymore. Probably one every 2 months.
Yeah. All right, Dave. We got a question here from a Small Town Picker. She says, Dave, are you using your webcam or your cell phone to stream? I'm looking for a webcam. And she said that, Jeff, you look different. Yeah, I'm outside right now, guys. Where I'm at, it's dark. Usually I do a live stream around 4 or 5 o'clock during the daytime, but we just got to kind of make the schedule work. So that's what's going on. Dave, you want to answer a Small Town Picker's question?
Yeah, I'm just using an inexpensive Logitech webcam. It was like $30. So yeah, I've tried the built-in webcam on the laptop. I didn't like the quality, so I just bought this Logitech one, and it works really good.
Okay, cool. Now, I watched your videos lately, and you have a lot of videos for new resellers. Do you have some suggestions or recommendations? Could you give me maybe your top 3 tips that would help somebody to try to grow their reselling business? Maybe sourcing, shipping, customer service. Do you have anything like that you could think of off the top of your head?
Yeah. Number one, if you're brand new into reselling, the number one thing I recommend is research. I know people get excited. They've got, something they inherited from grandma, Beanie Babies or whatever, and you want to get it listed immediately. The first thing I would do is just take a deep breath and slow way down and just research. And you have to research shipping, research what platform to sell on, local pickup, or you're going to ship it. How to list, how to source, go on YouTube and look up YouTube content creators that are resellers and watch their videos, and basically just sit back and watch what everybody else does first. So that's number one, is research. Number two is figure out how much time you can commit to this. Do you only have an hour a day, or do you have 5 hours a day? And the third thing would be space. Everybody thinks they have enough space, but you really have to think about it. Do you have a spare bedroom? Do you have a basement? Do you have a garage? Do you have a shed? Can you dedicate that to inventory? And if you're going to have inventory like ephemera or plush toys, you really don't want to put them outdoors or in the garage, because they might smell like gasoline, or they might get mildewy if it's humid where you live. So that would have to be in a controlled environment. Do you have a controlled environment that you can store stuff like that? So basically, research, determine your time availability, and then determine your storage capacity in the room that you have.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I was watching a video the other day, and a reseller said that, you know, the three things that hold people back is space, time for listing and shipping, and then having money. You got to be able to reinvest your money back into your business. I just wanted to say hi to Chris Toys and Treasures for coming by and hanging out. We got Wendy here. She says, in the last video, Enoch posted photos and links. So it looks like Enoch does have some powers. We got Small Town Picker here. Little Debbie here, Primetime Treasure Hunter. We got Fundamentals of Side Hustling. He says he has shifty eyes. I think he's talking about your alien. And then Hyphen Gold is here. So if you guys have questions for Dave, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I wanted to ask you a question about your recent What's Sold video, Dave, because I saw you were selling some black and white photos for like $50, and something like that, that just items that you have in your What's Sold videos are totally kind of different than normal, that you wouldn't find. You wouldn't find old black and white photos at Walmart Retail Arbitrage. So could you kind of give us an idea of some of these kind of out of the box items that you sell on your eBay store?
Well, I have to give credit to the other people on YouTube, like a big shout out to Don, the Auction Professor, and Dominic Primetime, and many others too, is you learn from watching other people. And there's things like ballpoint pens, pinback buttons, old clothing, new in the package from the 1970s. This is stuff that people just walk right past at an estate sale or a flea market. And this was just a lucky win for me when I picked up all this pile of ephemera for $20, and the guy who was selling it, he could care less. There was wall maps, and there was photographs, and there was all kinds of stuff in there, and he didn't want to look it up. He didn't care. He just wanted it gone. So yeah, this is stuff that you learn over time. And Dominic's got great sourcing videos at estate sales too, where he can go on the last day, the last 2 hours, and still find awesome things, because I think most people are looking for the obvious home runs, you know, like the Babe Ruth rookie card, you know, something like that, or the Mona Lisa. I mean, you have professional dealers, antique store owners. They want to go the first day, you know, the first hour of a flea market or an estate sale, and look for that, you know, Victorian furniture or something that's just like a unicorn. Then if they don't find that kind of stuff, then they just leave. Well, there's other things that are quite valuable that people just don't know or don't care to know about. So yeah, I did get lucky, but when I saw those photographs, because I watch the Auction Professor, I knew anything related to military has value. It could be a picture of a helicopter. It could be soldiers just standing around. Of course, the older, the better. But I recognize this as a bomber plant in Detroit, Michigan, you know, in my home state. And I thought, okay, it's World War II. It's related to factories where all the women were working while the men were off to war. I had to research this for about an hour on Google to really figure out what it was. But I thought, you know, this is gold. But if it's just a picture of someone's grandma, don't even bother putting it on eBay. Nobody wants that. If it's a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, that's a different story.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. All right, Dave. So I wanted to ask you a question. Are you there? I wanted to ask you a quick question. So I saw a video recently, and you talked about how you did some live auction sourcing. If someone hasn't went to a live auction, do you have any tips or tricks that can help somebody if they're going to a live auction or doing an auction online, that help them win auctions, and items that they can look for that could be profitable items to resell on eBay? I want to put you back on full screen. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, for online auctions, my advice is to set a price and stick to it. I've fallen into this trap and broke my own rules, but I've seen things that I know are awesome, and usually they have what's called a soft close, so there's no sniping. So if anybody bids in the last 15 minutes, they add an additional 15 minutes, and it just keeps going. So if it says it ends at 5 p.m., it could go to 10 p.m. because people just keep bidding, but yeah, set your price. The downside on online auctions is you're not there. You can't handle it. You can't do the smell test. You can't see every single side if they don't take good photographs. So it is a bit of a gamble. You have to work that into the price. So if you see like a stack of J.C. Penney Christmas catalogs from 1974 and they only take 2 pictures, well, you don't know what the years are on the bottom of that stack. You don't know if they're soiled or torn or they smell like mildew. So if you're thinking they're worth $20 a piece, you have to figure you don't really know the condition. So set a price and say, okay, I'm willing to bid $30 max for that lot. And if somebody bids 35, just let it go, because I've been burned a couple times where I bid on something and you go to pick it up and the back of the cover is torn off or there's writing inside of it. So it's a bit of a gamble. If it's a live auction, that's a lot different. Always show up early so you can examine all of the items before the auction starts, and wear comfortable shoes. You'll be on your feet 9 hours.
Yeah, I've been on some auctions on eBay before where I would buy items in bulk. For example, I would try to buy like 200 DVDs new in the shrink wrap, and I try to get them for 54 cents a piece or something, including shipping to my door. And sometimes, it would be frustrating because you would be the winning bidder and you think that you're going to win. And then it's like you got to sleep sometimes. So you fall asleep and then the person outbids you by $1. And you're just like, what? You're like, what is going on here? It's like, man, I thought I had it in the bag. But it's okay. You're going to win some and you lose some. But some of these auctions, you can get stuff for the right price if you just kind of, bid on it. You don't want to go overboard and get into a bidding war. But if you see something that's a good deal, there's some of these auctions I'll bid on eBay and nobody else bids against me. And I end up getting, items for 40, 50 cents a piece in bulk shipped right to my door. So it doesn't hurt to go ahead and bid on it. And also one thing is, if something does happen on eBay, let's say if you can always go back and retract a bid. So if things start getting overboard and maybe, you wanted to bid $50 on this lot of merchandise and you end up bidding 75 or 80, you can always go back and retract your bid. So that can happen as well. I wanted to say hi to Prison to Profit. He's here in the chat hanging out with us. So thanks for coming by, man. We appreciate you. I wanted to say hi to Chris Toys Treasures. I have a question that says, do you use scanner or camera for your listings with photos and ephemera? I think that question is for you, Dave.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a scanner is something I would use if I was a high volume seller, but I'm not. So I just use a camera. I have a Canon DSLR and I just take pictures. I almost intentionally take not really super high quality pictures. If it's an 8x10 black and white photo, I'll kind of do it on an angle a little bit with a little bit of glare because I don't want people stealing my photos on eBay. So that's another story for another day. But there are eBay sellers who use a scanner for postcards and photos, and then other people will steal their images and actually sell prints of those pictures. That's a whole industry on eBay, is selling prints of things. But I just use my camera. But I think if I have like 380 listings, if I were to scale up to like 1,000 listings and have tons and tons of ephemera, then I would probably buy a scanner. But at this point, I don't.
Okay, cool. So have you thought about maybe scaling up and having smaller items like postcards or photos and maybe growing your store to 1,000 items if you can have small items that don't take up a lot of space? And also I wanted to ask you, is there any hot selling items right now with fourth quarter going into Christmas that are hot items that are selling for you right now?
No, I don't have any plans to scale up because I just don't have the room or the time. So to scale up would be high volume, low margin, which is more time. And that's time is something I don't have. So if anything, I'm going to scale down and have less items, but higher margins, more valuable items. So kind of the opposite. For me, Q4, train items have been going very well. HO gauge train, buildings and cabooses and switches and all that kind of stuff. For some reason, they've been sitting in my eBay store for quite a while, but in Q4, I can't keep them on the shelf. They just sell like crazy. So I sold some really big buildings. I think the brand was Magnuson from 1974. It was a barn find. Not in perfect condition, but it was still new old stock, never been used. And those things I did as an auction, and they sold like crazy. So vintage trains, equipment, buildings, HO gauge, that stuff for some reason just blew up in Q4 for me.
Hey, Dave, you there? You froze up for a second. I was going to ask you a question. So how has your sourcing been since we've had a lot of lockdowns this year? I saw the other day you mentioned that you bid on an auction for Mr. Buys a Lot. Have you been doing more online sourcing? Have you done more retail arbitrage? Have you done like thrift stores? Like what have been some of the spots that you've been targeting as far as sourcing to get more inventory right now? With everything that's been going on.
Yeah, I've been doing more online, YouTube wholesale lots and YouTube auctions. So yeah, Mr. Buys a Lot. I bought posters from him a few months back, and then he really cranked it up where he's doing like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the weekends, trying to get rid of inventory. So he's got fantastic inventory. So yeah, I kind of miss going out sourcing on the weekends, but I really need to stay home and list more. So it's real easy to have the auction on your laptop while you're working, listing items, and then you can watch the auction. If something comes up, you throw a bid on there. It's a huge time saver. Shipping is often free. So I found that doing the YouTube online auction saves me a ton of time. But, maybe after Christmas and January, I'll get back to hitting those thrift stores and estate sales. Who knows?
Okay, Dave, I wanted to ask you a question. It's not really reselling related, but I wanted to ask you a question. Like, how do you go about balancing, working your full-time job, right? Shooting YouTube videos, being a reseller, and still being a husband and a father and spending time with your family? Because, if you can make, a bunch of money from reselling and working your full-time job, but you also still got to be, the head of the household and be a husband and a dad and all that. So how do you go about balancing your personal life and with a household, being a family man, plus working a full-time job, plus being a content creator and a reseller? Go ahead, Dave. Oh, hold on 1 second. I hit the mute button. Go ahead. I hit the wrong button.
That's all right. Yeah, you basically just have to prioritize what you're going to do. So yeah, family comes first, the job, commitments outside the house. If I have to do outdoor chores, all of that stuff comes first. And then if there's time available, then I put some time into making a YouTube video or listing on eBay. Of course, shipping you have to do. If you sell something, you have to ship it. But I would say YouTube content creation, sourcing for eBay, those are more like wants and not needs. So if the time allows, I do it. If the time doesn't allow, then I just don't do it. So, I might make one video a week for YouTube, or I might make 3 or 4 videos a week. It all depends on how much time I have. But I'm not going to scale up and make one video every single day. I know that's ideal. I just don't have time to do that. So basically, you have wants and needs. The needs come first, and the wants come second. So if I list 1 item a week or 20 items a week, whatever I can fit in is how I prioritize it.
Okay, Dave, I got another question for you. Now, we're coming down to the end of the year of 2020, right? So we had Thanksgiving, we got Christmas coming up, then we got the ball's going to drop, and it's going to be New Year's. So what are some of your goals or ambition that you have for yourself next year for 2021 regarding, your reselling business, your YouTube channel? Do you have any other things that you're looking forward to next year in 2021 that you're going to just man, as soon as the New Year's hits, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, like some major goals that you're shooting for?
I do have a list of things that I would like to do, but like I said, it's not a priority. It's more like a want. But you might laugh, but I don't own a thermal printer. I use this black and white laser to print my shipping labels. So it would be cool to have a thermal printer. I don't own a GoPro camera. So when I go out into the wild and record video for YouTube, I'm using my cell phone. It'd be much easier to have a GoPro. So kind of a goal for 2021 is to get a GoPro camera. So kind of equipment, things like that. And then the other thing is I just want to make time for myself and pursue other hobbies. I don't want eBay and YouTube to be my only hobby. I want to pursue something else and kind of make time for that, whether it's reading or sculpting or biking or whatever else. Just kind of have more quality time outside of the reselling community. And that's something I put off for like almost 2 years. I want to get back into that.
Okay, awesome. We got some people that dropped in the chat. We got Vintage Vagabond Vince. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. We got Hot Flip Heidi. Thank you for coming by. We got Prison to Profit here. He says, go Tar Heels. We got Wendy here in the chat with us. And then we had Crisp Toy Treasure. So if you guys have questions for our guest, Dave, go ahead and drop it in the chat. So I wanted to ask you questions when you regarding to reselling. What kind of profit margins are you looking for when you're buying and reselling items on eBay? Like, because you got to take out your cost of goods. You have shipping fees, you have eBay fees, PayPal fees. All that stuff's taken out of it. So you need to have a pretty good margin when you're reselling on eBay. So what kind of profit margins do you look for when you're outsourcing to get merchandise?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think because I'm part-time and a hobbyist, time is more critical or more valuable than if this was a full-time business. If this was I was a stay-at-home dad, full-time business, this is all I did, it might be a little different story. But for me, to double the money is almost a loss. If I buy something for $5 and sell it for 10, I consider that a bust. I would rather really, at a minimum, triple my money. If I can't do that, I'm probably not going to. So if I can source something for $5 and it's selling for $10 on average, I'm going to put it back on the shelf. Now, other people that have thousands of listings on eBay or Amazon or Mercari, they'll source something for $2 and sell it for $6 because they're selling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. There's nothing wrong with that. But I have to at least triple my money, or it's just not worth my time after all of the fees and the shipping and the time involved and the storage. So I'm looking to at least triple my money or more.
Okay, and so what platforms do you currently sell on? You sell on eBay? What other platforms are you on right now?
Well, I'm trying to sell on Mercari. I have 9 items on Mercari that I can't give away. They just don't move at all. And then I'll do local every once in a while. I do want to get into Facebook Marketplace. I haven't sold anything on there yet. I've purchased from there, but they have shipping now. And from what I'm hearing from other resellers, that's the hot market right now, is Facebook Marketplace. So I really have to get into researching that, maybe cross-platform stuff on my eBay store, put it on Facebook Marketplace too, to see if it makes any difference. But those, Mercari and eBay, are pretty much the only 2 I sell on right now.
Okay, Dave. So I'll get a question for you. What other content creators on YouTubers do you like to watch in your free time? Because believe it or not, I actually run into you in the chats a lot from time to time. Not every day, but at least once a week I'll run into you online. So tell people, what are some of the other content creators, if you have downtime, but you'll just watch or listen to in the background while you're listing items?
Sure. I'll just pull up my subscriber list. That'll be the quick way to do it. Let's see here.
Well, you mentioned the Auction Professor. Yep. You mentioned Primetime Treasure Hunter.
Yeah, Mr. Buys a Lot, Cat the Nurse Flipper, What the Hales, Jeremy and George, Bluegrass Picker, Nana Tink, Tommy Bernard, Harry Humstone, of course, Dawn Two Hip Chicks. Let's see, Shed Flips, Lonnie, Joy Bada Bing, Craigslist Hunter, Lindy Glenn, Mountain Man Treasure. Over the years, Tim, Harry Tornado. I probably subscribe to about, I would say, 200 channels. And I get that, what you call like YouTube fatigue, where you subscribe to more and more and more, and then you feel bad because you don't have time to watch them all. So I watch like a core of like 10, but I'm subscribed to 200, and I kind of feel bad. It's like I really got to get to their channel and watch it, but there's so many good content creators. You just don't have the time in the day to watch them all.
Yeah, there's only so many hours in a day. And yeah, for sure, what I've been doing lately is finding other small content creators and just letting their videos play to help them get their watch time hours, you know, because that's what it's about. The other guys, like, Rally Roots or Rockstar Flipper or Harry Tornado, they don't need watch time hours. They already got it. So if I'm out somewhere, honestly, if I'm out somewhere, I was out today at Walmart getting a couple things, I just try to find other small content creators, let their videos play in the background, help them get their watch time hours, because it's all about helping the people in the community, and helping them grow. So that's definitely nice if you can always give back to the community. Well, Dave, we had you here on for about 45 minutes. I know you have other things you need to do today. So go ahead and give me your final thoughts and we'll get you out of here today, Dave.
Okay. Yeah, and speaking of watching other videos, a lot of times I'll have multiple tabs in Chrome open, and I can actually multitask and watch 2 or 3 at the same time. I don't know if everybody can do that, but I can have an auction on one and watch, the news on the other one and watch Dominic on the third one. So yeah, I do that sometimes too. But yeah, my advice to you guys is just try to be patient with Q4. Some people complain that Q4 is terrible. Some people say it's great. Shipping is slow. I don't like managed payments. Just try to take a deep breath. We'll get through it all together and network with each other. I network with people all the time on Instagram, on Facebook. If you want to sell and buy off platform to avoid the fees, or if you have questions, just reach out. I answer questions all the time to people. Just reach out to my email or my Instagram. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Or if you see anything in my videos you'd like to purchase, I've reached out to Kat, the Nerd's Flipper. I bought 8x10 photos from her. And people are happy to do that. So don't feel reluctant or shy to reach out to somebody just because they have 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers. You'd be surprised. A lot of these people will respond back to you. So that's my advice.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice. The reseller community, if you have questions or comments or you need help, it doesn't hurt to reach out to somebody, in worst case scenario, if they don't respond. But I just wanted to mention something, guys. You're going to be facing obstacles, whether you're reselling on eBay or Amazon or Mercari, you're going to have obstacles. Everybody is, right? So we were just talking before the show started that like for example, post office is going to be raising their shipping prices at the first of the year. It's going to be like that for everybody. So you just want to make sure you have that built into your price of your items. You need to get items where you can get higher margin items. Like I'll get items for 50 cents and sell it for $20 because like you said, that you're going to have to factor in the cost of shipping, your eBay fees, your PayPal fees, cost of goods, all that's going to be taken out of there. So make sure you try to find items you get higher margin and just keep pushing. You're going to get through it. You're going to have adversity. You're going to have obstacles along the way. And if you need help or you're in a rut, just reach out to somebody. We're here to pitch in and help each other out. I wanted to say hi to Living a Blessed Life and Improving Daily. Thank you for coming by. We appreciate you. And I wanted to say thanks to our guests for here hanging out with us today and everybody in the chat. I will see you guys tomorrow. We have a guest coming on from Atlanta, and he has a whole fleet of rental cars. So if you want to learn more about the rental car business, he has cars that he gets for $500 a month and rents them out for $3,000 a month. So if that's something that's interesting to you, I'll see you guys tomorrow around 4 or 5 o'clock, and I'll see you then. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.